Hello, and welcome to the virtual investor conferences. My name is Athena Katsoulis, and on behalf of Social Suite, our ESG sponsor, as well as the OTC markets, we're very pleased to have you join us for our live presentation from HAMR Mining Corp, a company focused on advancing 3 past silver producing mines in Idaho and Nevada. Please note you can submit questions in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings through the Scheduled Meetings tab found on the conference platform. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Peter Ball, President, CEO, and Director of HAMR Mining Corp, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol HAMRF and on the CSE under the symbol HAMR. Welcome, Peter.
Thanks, Athena, and thank you to everybody calling in today in the middle of the summer. I'm calling in from Vancouver, Canada today. So again, this should be a pretty quick presentation, about 20 minutes to run through this, and I look forward to questions throughout the presentation and at the end. So first of all, SilverHammer was put together, first of all, to build what we're hoping to put together a silver production company over the upcoming years. We've got a good head start with 3 previous producers located in Idaho, which is ranked number 7 in the world by the Fraser Institute for Advancing Mineral Assets, and also in Nevada, which is consistently ranked in the top 5 and currently number 3 in the world for advancing a mineral asset. So 2 great locations. We're not grassroots projects. Each of the projects did produce historically from 150 years ago, 50 years ago, and just over 30 years ago, which again, they're high-grade silver. We are pure silver play. And in addition to the assets we'll run through today, we're also aggressively reviewing some interesting assets that would be similar or more advanced to add to the portfolio to become what we're hoping a producer or near-term producer within the next 12 months. We have a very interesting team, which I'll run through, that brings a pedigree in the silver exploration. So I'll cycle through here. And again, I'll look out for the questions on the left-hand side here if something comes in. Lots of forward-looking statements. We are an exploration company, so watch out for them. Take a read of this slide, number 2. And again, all the information presented today is on the website and updated every month as we push forward with our projects. So first of all, I mentioned the top left here portfolio of where we are. As you can see, we're in Idaho. Great infrastructure. We're in what you would call the Silver Valley of Idaho, which is number 2 in the world if you're looking at a place to find, advance, discover, develop a silver project. It's a great place to be for the Silver Strand project. And again, in Nevada was built on silver. It is actually the silver state, even though it is one of the top gold producers in the world. So great locations. Again, both projects have incredible infrastructure in regarding to driving to the asset and getting there fairly simple, of a quick drive, flight to Vegas and a couple hours north into Ely, Nevada. And again, flying into Coeur d'Alene or driving from Vancouver, where our head office is located. I'm going to talk about our team in a bit. And who we put together and how they'll be able to assist us going forward. I'll talk about the structure. We're fairly tight for a company that's been around for a couple of years. We'll talk about our cash balance and what we're hoping to do this year. Again, we like silver. We like the fundamentals of what's heading into this fall and what we see coming with, the silver use in the solar use, which is expanding significantly over the next decade, the silver use in vehicles, the silver use in electronics, and the hoarding of silver that people will get into. And I used to run a couple of silver companies before, where I was able to advance an asset through discovery, building a resource, raising significant capital, and advancing it through to a sale. And that was actually in Argentina. And that was the last time silver was really having a good go. It reached about $53 back in 2011. I think I remember the month. I think it was April 2011. And we got a busy year. We recently did a financing allowing us to advance the assets. It is in the middle of the summer, so I'll talk about in a second where we are and where we're anticipating going up and leading into the fall. So no one likes talking about themselves, but I'm kind of a fifth generation mining kid. I've been in the industry for 35 years. I've worked with and ran a number of companies and raised some capital, advancing some of the assets, and had some stints in the engineering side, the finance side as a previous broker, and more recently over the last decade of becoming the storyteller and the capital raiser, and trying to work with exceptional teams. And part of the other management is Alnish, who's been in the industry, an incredible, hardworking CFO that has been in the industry for 20 years, and he's really good at making sure that we have no payables and that we manage our treasury going forward. Phil is a great individual to help us, what I call as our execution geologist, working closely with the board. He's lives in Montana and has been running and advancing projects in Idaho and Montana and Nevada for many years, and knows the people to talk to and the permitting people and the drillers and getting boots on the ground to take the asset and preparing them for a drill program. So Phil's been instrumental helping us get and taking these assets to where we are today. So again, 4 really interesting and key people to this story. If you're going to invest in a silver company, you want to have individuals like on this page that have been around in the silver industry and or the corporate development industry for years. So again, starting off with Lawrence, I've known Lawrence for years. He's been not only like an analyst, but also running and advising multiple companies of the right assets to invest in and the right assets to push forward. And he's also the chairman of Metallic Royalties, and he's a pretty respected technical lead in the industry. And I'll touch on the 2 silver guys, professionals we have, which is Ron Burke, ex-senior VP of Silver Standard, Centerra, been there and done it, and a silver professional with great, what I call street cred in helping understanding assets and looking at new assets, as currently we are looking at new assets. Ron's amazing. Lives in the Toronto area, Canada. And Don, I've known Don for 30 some years. He recently came on when I joined the company in February of this year. He was the ex-senior VP of Coeur for the first 10 years, building the billion-dollar company, and he lives in Idaho, and he's an incredible explorationist. And I used to work with him at Hud Bay back in the early 90s, where he was senior VP, not only there, but also senior VP of Anglo Gold. Very distinguished silver explorer. So as we examine what we have and also examine new projects that we're currently, I keep using the word aggressively looking at, but we are looking at assets that we could feel that would be accretive to the story. So watch our story as we evolve this year. And Jonas, I've known, I think, since Jonas's first day in the industry. He's a smart guy, lives in Toronto, and he's really good on the corporate dev side. And he's also instrumental in bringing Maple Gold Mines, putting them and Agnico together. So great team, known them for years. Good to have them on board. They take ownership, they get involved, they dive into the data rooms and help us push forward. So I'll run through the structure pretty quick here. About 55 million shares out. Recently did a financing of just under 2 million at a quarter, or 25 cents, with a half unit of 33. I personally bought 17% of the financing myself. So I put a few $100,000 of my own money alongside the existing and new shareholders to ensure that I take a piece and participate alongside, so that as we spend money, we watch it closely, because I do not like dilution. The rest is self-explanatory. Market cap, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, 15, whatever we are on the day. You can see what we paid for the previous the projects we have. We own them 100% outright, no NSR stuck on them, and those are the previous financings. We're doing well compared to our peers. Take a look at what we're doing, how we're trading, our volume, our liquidity, our share price, and how we're handling here in the middle of the summer doldrums. But we're just starting to get going here, as many juniors are. We're holding our currency or share price quite well to advance the assets I'm about to talk about. I've mentioned that the Silver STRAND project, previously produced in the late 70s, early 80s, only went down to about the 90-meter level. It's in a good location, like I mentioned, in the Silver Valley, where a number of projects have been explored and developed down to 1,500 or 2,000 meters. The Silver STRAND only ever went down to 90 meters. So it'll be interesting as we start looking at below the 90-meter level, but also along the strike of the project. So here's just really showing that even though they went to 90-meter level, there's some interesting gold and silver hits that were discovered beneath the bottom of the working, which is only 90 meters deep. So easy access. I was just there about a month ago with Don Byrick and Phil taking a look at it. And as we push through our plan of operations, I'm not going to go through each slide, but what we're trying to show is that even though they went to the 90-meter level, there was mineralization discovered beneath it. So it'll be interesting as we punch through this project. And when I joined in February, the first thing I wanted to do was get a plan of operations, be able to look at the project over the next year without having to keep going back and doing more and more permitting. We're expected to get the plan of ops later this summer and anticipate pushing forward with a drill program based on the plan of ops in the fall. Also recently, when I started again, I had the historical MAG, EM, IP, et cetera, surveys all put together, did a compilation. And what we did, we found a number of new targets that's never been looked at in 50 years. We updated the technical report also. And we were at the project, taking a look at not only what we're trying to look at, bringing in Don with Don's eyes, looking at the project. It's a pretty big land position. You can drive to the project from Coeur d'Alene downtown from your hotel in 35, 40 minutes. So it's beautiful road access. And again, we're looking at, this map should be a little bit bigger. I'm not sure why it isn't, but really we've identified a number of targets at the project in and along this strike, or the main feeding plumbing system, which is this black line through the middle. Again, apologies why this is smaller. Something must have happened on the saving of the file. So Silver STRAND is targeted for later this summer, likely in September, as we finalize the plan of operations and drill targets. So if we take a little flight down to Nevada, fly into Las Vegas, drive about 3 hours north into Ely, hang a left, and you're at our ELIZA project, which is in the Hamilton Silver District, one of the main silver districts that built Nevada. We have quite a large land position that we've expanded a couple of times based on not only was a significant amount of silver produced in this area, but one of the highest grade silver areas in Nevada, probably in North America, that had some interesting assays 50 years ago. So we went in there last year and kind of followed up, and we kind of made some interesting, sampling in these rock samples along strike for a few hundred meters of some interesting silver grades, 1.5 kilos, half a kilo of silver, but some interesting copper, lead, and zinc. So is it a polymetallic play? Is there a blind porphyry, copper porphyry? Are we on something bigger than we thought? So we'll find out pretty quick. We'll get in. We're doing a plan of operations. That's going to take a number of months to get through, but in the meantime, we can do a lot of groundwork. And we're finalizing a detailed geophysical flyover we just completed. We put some news out a couple of weeks ago on some preliminary review, but the full data crunch is coming in a couple of weeks, and that'll give us an idea of what's happening here on this map. On the south side of the Eberhard Fault is the the ground is, say, downdropped. So on the north side of it, where a lot of the historical mines are, there's lots of opportunity beneath the Bahart Fault or south of it because the ground's downdropped, same Devonian shales and limestones that's sitting south. So we've sampled and it looks interesting. Yeah, and I got a question coming in here about talking about the color or some more color about the background and the history. Previously on the silver strand, they went in, they mined it in the 70s and 80s. Silver price dipped, and I think the company got in some financial issues. So that's where that one has really been on care and maintenance by some prospector that we bought it off. And then some drilling was done in 2002, which was at high grade beneath the 90-meter level back at the Silver Strand operation. Thanks for the question, by the way. So again, it was never really drill tested. So this drilling is actually Silver Strand's drilling back in 21 and 22. So this mine, as I did discussing, was mined 150 years ago, held by a prospector, and most of these mines were just kind of abandoned. There are a number of operations similar to what Black Rock Silver is doing over in Tonopah, looking at these old mines, drilling underneath them, and this one was 150 years ago. So again, lots of mines in the area, good opportunity. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 old mines sitting on the ELIZA project. We've submitted the plan of ops, we've done the geophysics, we'll update it, and we're going to get some additional work prepping for a drill program. It's internally, it's one of our favorite projects alongside of Silver Strand, noting the copper. Copper is a very hot commodity these days. So we'll look to do a drill program over the next year on this project, and follow up. And again, this is some significant grade of silver and copper. And we do get a lot of calls about this project if we want to joint venture it out or partner it up with somebody, noting the land position and where we are and the historical workings and what we're seeing. So interesting project. It'll be a lot of fun over the next year. And Silverton is, if you drive from ELIZA and keep heading towards Tonopah another hour or so, you're going to run into this one. And this one's really not seen anything for 70 or 80 years. A number of mines sitting next to a highway. Some interesting grade. It's never been followed up, never drilled. Nothing's really ever happened to it. It's actually currently permitted. So if we were to rank the projects, this would be number 3. Silver Strand and ELIZA would be fairly close to each other in regards to our internal ranking of how we view it going forward to provide some upside for our shareholders. So again, as we go through, we're doing our final bit of work here on each of the projects, ensuring that we spend the dollars correctly and prioritize each of the projects based on our internal ranking using Don, Byrak, Ron Burke, Lawrence Rolson, and Phil and myself to see where we stand. So again, this is permitted, ready to go. But as you know, when it's to drill a meter, it costs $200 to $300 per meter, or $100 and some for reverse circ or RC drilling. Let's take our time and also manage it when the market's a little bit more hot. We are in the middle of the summer, so we're doing boots on the ground and geophysical and site visits and internal studies on the projects in this the slow period, as we call it, in the may go away frame, as the industry calls it. So this is last year. Last year was good. It was really just setting up the company about doing some initial drilling at Silver Strand, getting an IP done. And actually that third check mark's actually done. The geophysical interp is done. ELIZA, it helped us prep for this year, some sampling and some historical review. Silverton, the same thing. And also the project was permitted, which was good. So going forward, I've mentioned pretty much everything on this slide, but we're making some good progress in doing the geophysical, boots on the ground at both and all 3 of the projects. But I will point out the other title here. We are looking and aggressively moving forward on some interesting assets to add to the table. We have a lot of we have a, of course, highly skilled technical team and some of the best on the silver side with Ron and Don specifically on the silver. I have a operational team on standby that would love to get involved to take a near term or a producing asset and put it in production and add it to our portfolio. But we got to find the right one and do our due diligence. Yeah, so another question just came in. Milestones over the next 12 months and capital needs. We're fully funded right now to do small individual programs at these 3 projects. Next financing would be likely later on this year or early Q1. The catalysts or the milestones to kind of watch out for are the geophysics coming out of, or the final interp for Silverton and ELIZA, the announcement of potential drill programs at the projects, drilling the projects, assays through the fall, and again, potential or near-term acquisitions to add to the plate, which we're looking for assets that would be accretive or transformational. We're not just looking to add another projects like we have. We have some great ones right here. So busy on all fronts. It's good once we have news and once we get the news flow go. We do have some people that follow the silver market more than most of us. And I've known most of them. I mean, I've traveled the projects with Chen and Peter Kraut and Nick Hodge, and Peter Granich I've known for 15 some years. David Morgan I've known for years. They like us. They like the team. They like the projects. They like where we're headed. They like the locations. And they like our strategy. And of course, we've got a pretty tight structure compared to a number of other individuals or other companies out there, and how we do on our comps, who our peers are. And again, I'm not looking at projects in Mexico. I'm not looking at projects in Peru or Argentina. We're looking North America. We'd add in North America, safe jurisdiction, high grade, and keeping the share structure tight is key. So I always say to everybody, if you want to reach me, email me here, as you can see, peter@silverhammermining.com, or that's my cell. If you phone that cell and leave a voicemail, if you don't get me personally, I guarantee if I'm not on a meeting or on a flight or sleeping, I will get back to you within an hour. So try me on that. Ask a question. The best way to find out about a company is to talk to us. We are very transparent, open, and I like to be available to everybody. I don't care if you own 1 share or have 1 million. We're here to make some money and make sure that the share price goes up. I do appreciate everyone's time today. It's an interesting period in the silver industry. I think, from talking to all these analysts and fund managers and the market people, the bankers, that it's going to look or going to be an amazing upcoming couple years in the silver market. I was in here in the silver market before. That's why I joined this company. I like the team. I like the assets. I like silver. I like where we're going. It's going to be busy. I think I'm one of the largest shareholders, so I'm going to be watching what happens with our money and what we do or what we buy. So again, it's 24 minutes in. I don't want to take anybody longer at the end of the day. If you don't have any further questions, I'm going to hand it back to Athena to close off. But